This is Crenshaw, Briggs, and VT. We want the touchdown. We not trying to go for 3. And it's best if you get up out the street, cause them bulls out the pen and they about to stampede.
VT, come on, get your rent on, baby.
So you guys heard me say this before, that even if we drafted a quarterback at 2, that I wanted to take a vet. I actually wanted to have a vet and draft a quarterback. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but let me tell you why. That's not just a Patrick Mahomes, Alex Smith scenario. It's the fact is that even if we draft a quarterback, who's going to mentor him, right? It's not going to be Davis Mills. It's not going to be Driscoll. It's not going to be Kyle Allen. So the reason why I am higher on Jimmy G, bringing him here, isn't necessarily because I think Jimmy G is the future for the Houston Texans, but he's learned from Bill Belichick. He learned from Kyle Shanahan. He worked with Bobby Slowick. And obviously he's worked with D'Amico. So he fits a piece of that puzzle, a temporary piece of that puzzle, that if he came to the Houston Texans and mentored whatever quarterback we had, whoever it was, and he obviously works with Slowick, and then he can now work with that and mentor that quarterback on the things he's learned by 2 of the best head coaches in history, right? Kyle Shanahan, Bill Belichick. You got to put them obviously on that list. So that's why I like Jimmy Garoppolo. Carr, I know that Crenshaw and Matt disagree with me on this, but I think Carr suffers from the Kirk Cousins disease. His numbers look great. He sometimes does a great job. If you look at his numbers, it should be, why is he MVP? The problem is that he panics and makes bad decisions at the worst times. He causes his team to lose. And that's the problem of what Carr has. Jimmy G, what the good thing about Jimmy G is, Jimmy G typically, I'm not saying all the time because he has cost games, but typically Jimmy G's a game manager. He's not going to win you games. He's not going to lose you games, but he'll keep you in if all the pieces are all right. And frankly, for a mentor, you really just want someone that can mentor a quarterback, that can bring him in the system. And the other, any other quarterback, I don't want Derek Carr for the reasons I just mentioned. I don't want Baker Mayfield because what is Baker Mayfield going to mentor? Nothing. So the reason to bring a bridge quarterback here, in my opinion, is because we've drafted a quarterback at number 2 and we need to teach him. None of the quarterbacks in the draft, I don't care if it's Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, Will Levis, Anthony Richardson, are going to be good out of the gate. Not even Bryce Young. So I would want someone to actually sit and mentor them. And without that, I think we could be looking at a relatively poor season if we don't have some sort of QB coach.
Be real quick. You're right. Jimmy G will be sitting with him and mentor him, because that's what he's going to do, is get hurt and sit down and mentor him, because that's all he does is get hurt.
And the thing is, I'm perfectly fine with that. I don't want Jimmy G here to simply play the season, right? Like, I would be happy if Jimmy G played 3 or 4 games and then the rookie took over. I'm not getting Jimmy G to play for us the entire season.
And I get what you're saying too, B, about Derek Carr, but also you got to look at his. He had 16 in crucial time turnovers. I mean, that's really great for how long he's played. That's either in 5 minutes of quarterback play or within a 1 possession score change. And he also is top 12 in most comebacks. I mean, that's pretty clutch. Like, I don't think you put him in there with Kirk Cousins quite yet. I mean, Kirk Cousins is god awful at being, clutch. Yeah, Derek Carr not so much. And the reason why I picked Derek Carr, because Jimmy G, like you said, Jimmy G is a good game manager. Derek Carr, he knows how to read the blitz. He's a great quarterback. He knows when to audible. He knows when to shift. Jimmy G, to me, he doesn't. He rolls with it. So I think Derek Carr is more of a master of the game, and that's why I would like Jimmy G or Carr over Jimmy G. Go ahead, John. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I definitely see where V is coming from. Simply because you do want somebody here that can kind of bring your quarterback along. But I would 100% agree with you if this was Lovie Smith or David Culley.
Right.
I'm half and half, 50-50, where I'm like, I can see where you go. I understand that, but then I also simply do trust D'Amico Ryans to put a staff together to develop these players. And so with that being said, I'm more so of go with what you got, draft what you need. And of course, they will address their quarterback position. I don't expect for no Kyle Allen or Jeff Driscoll to be back, but they'll bring in a third quarterback, maybe stash him on a practice squad, get him right through our preseason. You know how it goes. But overall, that's the only reason why. That's the biggest reason why I say where I'm like, I don't think we need a Derek Carr. I don't think we need a Baker or any of those guys, because I simply do trust DeMeco Ryans as a development coach more than anything, honestly. So
This is Crenshaw, Briggs, and VT. We want the touchdown. We not trying to go for 3. And it's best if you get up out the street, cause them bulls out the pen and they about to stampede.